Yes.
Good morning, everyone. The meeting of the Rhode Island Ethics Commission for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024 will come to order. The first item is a motion to approve the minutes of the open session held on January 9th, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
For a second? Moved by Commissioner Jones, seconded by Commissioner Susie. Roll call vote, Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Strauss. Aye. Commissioner Centerini.
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie.
Aye.
Commissioner Susie.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next item is director's report.
Good morning. Just noting that we are live streaming. The link is on our agenda and on our website. The website also contains the meeting materials. After the meeting, we will do the report out of votes taken in executive session. That will also be on our website. We will temporarily pause the live stream during executive session, then we'll come back into it once we come back into open session. In complaints and investigations, we have 8 total complaints pending. 2 of them are completed, but they're still pending decision, written decision, which should both come out pretty soon. That's in the Shikarchi and the Denise Brown cases. Then the other 6 cases are still active. In advisory opinions, we have 6 pending advisory opinions right now, 2 on today's agenda. With APRA, we had 13 APRA requests since the last meeting, and we fulfilled all of them within 1 business day, really on the same day, as we always try to do. Of those 13 APRAs, they all related to complaints this time. I don't have really any updates on financial disclosures. We start in the new 2023 filing season. I will say, commissioners, please feel free to contact me directly if you have any questions as you're filling out your financial disclosure statements. Happy to talk you through any of the questions. And we have a fairly full meeting today, so I'll just leave it at that unless you have any questions.
Any questions for Jason? Great. Okay, the next item is advisory opinions and finance. Thank you. The first sign is David Ursula.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Ursula.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. The draft for this advisory opinion can be found at tab B in your binders. Welcome, Mr. Ursula.
Thank you.
The petitioner is an assistant solicitor for the town of Smithfield. He provides legal advice to the Smithfield Planning Board, the zoning board, and occasionally to the town council in the event of the solicitor's unavailability. A master plan application has been submitted to the planning board relative to the proposed development of a battery energy storage system in the town of Smithfield. The petitioner anticipates that the application will be taken up by the planning board at an upcoming meeting, perhaps in February or March of this year. If the application is approved, the development would be located in a residential zone behind the petitioner's home in which he has lived for almost 18 years. He expects to receive an abutters notice about the application hearing due to the close proximity between the proposed development and his home. Mr. Ursullo represents that the construction of the development in the proposed location would directly financially impact the value of his property. He also considers the proposed development a credible threat to the health, safety, and welfare of his family and others in Smithfield. He states by way of example that in the event of a fire at the development, the burning of the lithium and the other minerals in the batteries could not be completely extinguished and would produce harmful toxins. Mr. Ursullo intends to recuse from official participation in his role as assistant solicitor from all matters before the planning board and potentially the zoning board and the town council concerning the application and the proposed development. He would, however, like to attend and speak at public hearings before the planning board and the other agencies in his private capacity as a Smithfield citizen and a abutter to the site of the proposed development to convey his opposition to it. He adds that if not prohibited by the Code of Ethics from doing so, he and another Smithfield resident intend to retain the services of an expert in the fields of planning and real estate valuation to assist them in the presentation of evidence in opposition to this development. Turning to the Code of Ethics, As an initial matter, Mr. Ursullo is right to recuse from participation in his capacity as an assistant solicitor in matters relating to this proposed development. Under section 5A, one may not take part in an official activity if he has reason to believe or expect a resulting direct financial impact upon, in this case, himself. There is a rebuttable presumption of financial impact upon his property as an abutter to the proposed development. Not only does Mr. Ursullo not rebut that presumption, he attests to it. As to his ability to participate as a private citizen, the draft examines two possibilities in which that may happen, both of which are exceptions to the code. First, there is a hardship exception found at section 3614(5)(1). The Ethics Commission views questions of hardship on a case-by-case basis and has in the past considered several factors in cases involving real property. No single factor is determinative, and the commission does consider the totality of the circumstances. One relevant factor is whether the subject property involves the official's principal residence or principal place of business. Now, here it does, his home. A second relevant factor is whether the official's interest in the property was pre-existing to his public position or was recently acquired. Here, the petitioner had owned his home for almost 13 years before his latest appointment as assistant solicitor. A final relevant factor is whether the matter involves a significant economic impact. Certainly, the potential financial impact upon the value of the petitioner's home would qualify. The draft cites advisory opinion 2000-45 on page 3, in which a former solicitor was granted a hardship exception under somewhat similar circumstances. There, the commission also considered that that petitioner had not brought the particular application before his town's zoning board, but wanted only to respond to it. Mr. Ursullo is similarly situated. For all of the foregoing reasons, it is the opinion of staff that the facts do warrant the adoption of the hardship exception in this case to permit the petitioner to appear for the planning board and potentially the zoning board and the town council in his capacity as a private resident to be heard on the potential development that's the subject of his question. Now, the Code of Ethics also contains a public forum exception, which is found at Regulation 1.2.3. Under the public forum exception, a person subject to the Code of Ethics may express their own viewpoints in a public forum on any matter of general public interest or on any matter which directly affects that individual, their spouse, or their dependent child. Here, the proposed development qualifies as both a matter of general public interest and a matter which directly affects the petitioner and his family. It is the position of staff that the public forum exception applies as well, and that the petitioner may also address the planning board and other agencies during periods of public comment relating to the development, provided that he does not receive access or priority that's not available to any other member of the public. This is one of those situations not unlike those cited on pages 4 and 5 of the draft, where the application of both the hardship and the public forum exception is appropriate. The petitioner is reminded that he may not use his public position in any way to influence the members of the planning board or the other agencies for whom he might provide services as an assistant solicitor regarding the development. I'm happy to answer any questions or to defer to Mr. Ursullo as appropriate.
Thank you. Mr. Ursullo, you've heard the staff's recommendations. Any comments or questions?
No, Chairperson Quinn, I think it was summed up pretty well.
Great.
Thank you.
Any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the staff's recommendation?
moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Ritchie, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Roll call vote. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Strauss.
Aye.
Commissioner Centerini.
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie.
Aye.
Commissioner Susie.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Nice to come in.
So the next advisory opinion is under tab A, and it's Matthew McGeorge.
Good morning, commissioners. Mr. McGeorge is not able to attend the meeting today. However, he thanked me for putting forward this matter. So if you allow me to, I will proceed in his absence. Mr. McGeorge is a former member of the East Greenwich Historic District Commission. He was a member of it until August of last year. He, in his private capacity, he has been a registered architect in Rhode Island since 2007, and he has owned his own company since 2010. He represents that he specializes in historic preservation, and that he and his company have done more than 15 historic adaptive reuse projects. He also represents that 30% of his work involves historic structures. Mr. McGeorge represents that he has been advising a client on a comprehensive master plan relative to a proposed development in the East Greenwich Historic District. The proposed development includes deed restricted affordable housing units, and because of that, Mr. McGeorge explains that that development application is under the jurisdiction of the East Greenwich Planning Board rather than the Historic District Commission. However, under the normal review of the application, the planning board would request or is expected to request an advisory opinion from the Historic District Commission on the application. Mr. McGeorge would like to submit the plans to the Historic District Commission and attend any meetings that may be scheduled before the Historic District. However, he left the Historic District Commission last August, so he's still under the revolving door provision of the code. Therefore, he would like to request a hardship exception under the General Commission Advisory 2010-1, which would allow him to represent his client before his formal board. As you know, Section 5E of the code prohibits a public official from representing himself, representing another person, or acting as an expert witness before his own agency. This prohibition lasts while the public official is in office and for a period of 1 year thereafter. Mr. McGeorge's actions, proposed conduct falls squarely within those prohibitions. However, the Ethics Commission has carved out a special hardship exception specifically for historic architects that serve on historic district commissions. That exception is outlined in General Commission Advisory 2010-1. For that General Commission Advisory to apply, the petitioner must make representations to establish that he is a qualified historic architect. In the present matter, the petitioner is an architect who specializes in historic preservation and represents that his work experience and education exceeded the minimum professional qualifications for historic architects promulgated in the National Park Services. These qualifications I have listed in footnote 2 on page 3 of the draft. I shall note that Mr. McGeorge had received, while serving on the Historic District Commission, he had received similar advisory opinions, 6 of them, that allowed him to represent clients before the Historic District Commission under the General Commission Advisory 2010-1. Considering all the above, it is the opinion of the staff that the petitioner qualifies for a hardship exception to the Code of Ethics prohibition against representing his client before his former agency during the 1 year period after leaving service in accordance with General Commission Advisory 2010-1. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from Ms. Bacca? No? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the staff's recommendation?
So,
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Susie and seconded by Commissioner Jones. Roll call vote. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Strauss?
Aye.
Commissioner Celerini?
Aye.
Commissioner Ritchie?
Aye.
Commissioner Susie?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Set it down so that he will ever have to come back.
I was gonna say, just tell him we'll miss Mr. George. Okay, the next item is a motion to go into executive session to take up a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session held on January 9th, 2024, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 4246-5A 2 and 4. To take up In re Daniel McKee, complaint number 2023-8, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 4246-5A 2 and 4, to consider In re David Patton complaint number 2023-6 pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A, 2 and 4. And to take up In re James E. Thorson complaint number 2023-7 pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42, 46, 5A, 2 and 4, and then to come to return to open session. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Okay, moved by Commissioner Jones, seconded by Commissioner Celerini. Roll call vote, Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Strauss, Commissioner Celerini, Commissioner Ritchie, Commissioner Susie, and the chair votes aye. Great, thank you.